This demonstration is a companion to the MultiValue and RESTful Web Services demonstration we previously created. We will use Microsoft Windows Phone 7 as the mobile platform to consume the REST services we developed previously. Our Windows Phone app is to be used by a salesperson in the field to mark an order as urgent while visiting the customer's workplace. We begin with the solution from the REST Services demo, and we'll be adding a new Windows Phone application project that was installed into Visual Studio when we installed the Windows Phone SDK. Windows Phone apps are based on Silverlight, so many of the techniques we demonstrate here will be directly applicable to that environment and also to the new Windows 8 Metro applications. The Windows Phone SDK includes an emulator, so we don't need an actual handset to create our app. You'll note that the design window uses XAML, just like WPF and Silverlight design environments. We start off by doing some minor changes to the displayed application name and page name. Once those are updated, we need to add our controls. There is nothing we are going to do in this demonstration that is special or unique to MultiValue needs. In fact, we aren't even writing this app to work with MultiValue data, just to work with web services. How those web services work or where they get the data from is irrelevant to us. So, we need a text box to accept the order number and a button that will trigger the order lookup. We will use a text block to display the order information and, of course, our big button for toggling our urgent flag. We are using Windows Phone default controls here, but just as with other .NET development environments, we are not limited in any way to the default controls. Third-party controls will work just fine. To jazz up our interface, we can download the Windows Phone developer tools for free and use Expression Blend to add razzle and dazzle to our app. Our Silverlight YouTube video demonstrates some of the features of Expression Blend, and they apply to Windows Phone too. Our code behind is going to be in C#. One nice thing about Windows Phone development is if you already know how to use Visual Studio, you know how to do phone apps. The tools are really great. The first thing we put in are constants containing the URLs to our REST Web Service function calls. If you saw the REST Web Services video, you might remember that we tested them using a simple web browser. That same address will be used here. We only need one parameter, the order number, but we pass another variable containing a unique value, the current time and date, so that Windows Phone automatic caching of results doesn't decide to give you stale data. We have two web service calls we need to make. One is to get the sales order data to display on the phone, and the other is an update web service that will toggle our urgent flag. Because the web services are called asynchronously, we need to tell the application which function will be called when each service completes. Because one is select and the other is an update, each function is identified a little bit differently. And of course, because we want to catch any exceptions that may occur, we add our error handling here. To make for more readable code, and because we only really need a few fields from our sales order file, we define this class, searchResult, to hold only the results we need for later display on our phone screen. To show how different data types are handled, we will use the order number, aka the item ID, the customer number, the date the order was placed, and the urgent flag. This is where we process the result of our update. This function is very simple. We check for any errors that might have occurred, and then we just ask for a refresh of the sales order displayed on the phone screen. This will display the changed urgent flag automatically for us. Note, when we call the web service for retrieving the sales order, we add an extra parameter onto the end with the date and time, making this query unique, and therefore the cached values will not be used. Now we do the same thing, write the function used to handle the completed web service call for the service that returns a single sales order item. Once again we check for any errors, and then we extract out the result XML and load our search result object with the result fields that we will need. The XML that is returned is a literal representation of the dataset generated by our data access layer. The data access layer passes the full dataset containing one sales order item to the REST layer, where the REST layer then converts the dataset directly into XML, thus preserving all the field names and data right in the XML. So you end up with elements with names of fields or columns, and the data as the text value of those elements. It's all very neat and tidy. To put it all together to display in our Windows Phone, we just piece together the elements of our search result in the text block control for display. For a more real-life phone app, we would probably do something a bit more elegant. You know, with shooting flames and shaking buttons. The last thing we do is set the value of our urgent toggle button to the correct caption or content, so we know what should happen when we press the button. The only thing left to do is make sure the buttons call the appropriate web services when we press them. The Submit button needs to call the web service that returns the sales order information, and the Urgent button needs to call our Update web service and toggle the Urgent field. Remember that we are calling our REST web services asynchronously, so all we do in our button click events is call the web service. All the actual work has already been written in the completed events. Windows Phone may not be the #1 phone platform, but learning to develop for the phone will help teach you development for Silverlight, Microsoft's graphical methodology of now and the future. A key aspect of learning Silverlight development for the phone or just the web is Windows 8. Windows 8's coming interface is called Metro, and it's designed to run on the desktop, phone, or a tablet, and is built from the ground up for a touch interface. Tablets will be coming soon that are full-featured Windows devices that have all the Office applications you may want to run. Don't bet against this having an impact on corporate IT. When we run the application, our Windows Phone emulator starts up, and we can see how our app would run on a real Windows Phone. We can use any order number, like 2828, and press the Submit button to have it call over the Internet to our web service that retrieves orders and then display the order on the screen. Currently, the order is marked as urgent. In the event that the order is not as important and needs to be marked as not urgent, we can press the Not Urgent button and it will once again call our REST web service, and this time under the covers call our MultiValue BASIC program that modifies attribute 3 of our sales order item to toggle the urgent flag. FusionWare's mvLynx managed provider is designed to allow you to work across all technologies. You can build a Windows Phone app or an iPhone app that calls REST web services wrapped around multi-value data and programs one day, and the next you can build a WPF application in C# or an ASP.NET application, or even a transformation with SQL Server integration services using the same connections, methods, and tools. Thank you for viewing our demonstration showing multi-value data served up through RESTful Web Services to a mobile app using the FusionWare mvLynx managed provider. No special tools were required.